at some point then we lead up to the time when you sort of thought about writing moment arm exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And what was it that inspired this deep look into the biomechanics of exercise and of resistance training, strength training?
I ruptured this biceps and I ruptured this triceps.
How did that happen?
Well, the biceps was interesting because I literally was in my basement doing a slow curl, and as I was doing it, I felt a little, and I felt a slithering, and I put the weight down. I went like this, and there was a black and blue golf ball. So a little bit of research later, talked to my physical therapist friends, and they said, "Oh, you ruptured your bicep. It popped off the scapula," and at the time, John Elway was a very American quarterback
Yeah.
had ruptured his bicep. Difference being he was throwing the football 80 yards or whatever when he did it, so his hurt. Mine didn't really hurt; it just looked like hell. So I didn't repair it because what happens is the part that snaps off the scapula, it contracts towards the intact portion, and then it just randomly reattaches. So,
but lower down,
somewhere random.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the bicep functionally isn't all that important because other things bend the elbow, and other things help raise the arm.
Mm.
So the only thing I really struggle with is if I'm using a screwdriver and I have to literally supinate a lot.
You're right-handed.
And I'm right-handed, right. So if you're using a screwdriver and supinating this way, which is all bicep, especially with force, that's a little tricky, but it's not terrible. But under certain lighting, you can see the divot where the biceps used to be, and it's not as bad now as it had been. At one point, it was like scooped out. So now, 20 years later of continuing to work out, it's kind of unnoticeable unless you notice what you're looking for.
You said you did that with a slow.
Yeah, just literally a slow curl in the basement.
Curl. Was there anything wrong with the technique? With the biomechanics? Was there something?
Well, that's what. See, and this is what led to moment arm exercise. So when I thought, so one of the things about ruptured biceps is they're very common in like 15, 60-year-old men, but I was 40 at the time. So what did I do that wore my shoulder out prematurely? Well, what did I do? I did a lot of full range pullover, a lot of full range flies, a lot of press behind the neck, and upright rows, and all sorts of things I was doing in the name of exercise that I thought were good for me, that were actually putting a lot of wear and tear on the shoulder joint. So,
so you sort of, it was wear and tear over time, and that was the sort of the straw that broke the camel's back. Is it?
Well, that's what I think happened because I wasn't heaving the weight, I wasn't dropping the weight, I wasn't doing anything dramatic. I think, and that's the only thing that wore my shoulders out. It's not like I was a baseball pitcher. So, and I was under the influence of use a full range of motion, which I took to mean the more extreme, the better. So, like I think a lot of us would take a press behind the neck as far as we could and press up as far as we could, and we would do a chest fly and dip as deep as you could and do parallel bar dips as deep as you could, or do chin-ups and hang out, as far as you could stretch and then pull down. So all of those, so what I did after I ruptured the bicep, actually, then I ruptured the triceps.
So, okay.
On the same arm, same summer. That came from a fall. I just fell. I fell roller skating, rollerblading. I landed flat on the forearm, and that one hurt like hell. Now on that one, see, there's like a jagged triceps over here.
Yep.
So it used to look on this side. See that nice curve there?
Mm-hmm.
That's an intact triceps.
Mm-hmm.
A Bill DeSimone intact triceps. This jagged piece of nothing there. So the head of the triceps that goes through the shoulder and attaches to the scapula, that one tore. So once everything healed and I went back to exercising, some exercises I didn't lose anything, and other exercises I couldn't even get into position. So I said, all right, I went to my physical therapist friend's bookshelves and took their anatomy and biomechanics textbooks, this real heavy-duty stuff. And I started picking through it to try to figure out, I put all the exercise stuff aside. And eventually what I figured out turned into moment arm exercise.